In 1A, the best player in the draft, in my opinion, is Travis Hunter, but I really can't knock a team that already has Myles Garrett about the idea of putting together what could immediately become one of the league's scariest pass rush duos, and of course, one of the most premium position in the entire NFL right now. And then finally, the Giants take Shedeur Sanders here at number 3. And this is where things, I think, become a little more complicated. At the end of the day, Laura, I would just say this. You don't plan on being in the 3rd overall pick slot in future years. You don't know exactly what future quarterback classes are going to look like. If you love the player, if you have conviction on the player, you don't let what has taken place so far this offseason, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, deter you from taking Shedeur Sanders, who gives you your best path towards sustained success going forward.
Oh, that number 3 pick is so complicated for so many reasons. I like what you did there. For more on what the Giants may be thinking, what they might do with number 3, here's head coach Brian Daboll. He had this to say earlier in the week at the NFL league meetings.
You're in year 4 now. How important is it for you to add a young quarterback to the mix as well?
Yeah, I think as many good players as we can add, we'll take. So right now we have the 3 guys in the quarterback room. We'll see what happens here over the next, call it month, if you will. And whoever's in that room, we'll do the best job we can of coaching them up.
All right, Mel Kiper Jr. is also here to talk about this, Mock. So, Mel, we're going to start with you. Do you agree?
We're not going to talk about the hair?
We're talking about that later, okay?
All right.
We have something planned, Dan.
I don't want to talk hair.
J-Mag, you're lucky you don't have to. You don't want to talk hair like this. All right, Mel, do you agree with Field on this pick for the Giants at 3, taking Shedeur?
Well, first of all, Laura, I got a breaking news. We've got a new number 1 on the big board, by the way. Travis Hunter's bumped. Got bumped. But Travis Hunter is not the number 1 player on my big board. It's Madden Orlovsky is the new number 1. Great job, pal. Phenomenal. Madden Orlovsky, always going to be number 1 on any big board I have. You're the honorary number 1, pal. Always will be ahead of everybody. In terms of Shedeur Sanders, I love the kid. I love everything about Shedeur Sanders. And think about Patrick Mahomes. The 2 Super Bowls they lost, the offensive line didn't get the job done. Shedeur Sanders' offensive line 2 years ago never got the job done. They stunk. And he was 27 touchdown passes, 3 picks, almost 70% completion percentage. Got a little bit better this past year. His numbers were 74% completion percentage. I understand he doesn't have the wow factor. I understand all that. But you can win from the pocket in the NFL. It's been proven time and time again. You can be a top 10 quarterback doing the things the way Shedeur does as a surgeon in the pocket. I would take him. Do I think they will take him? Adam Schefter said yesterday, maybe not. Yeah. So we have a little pause there. You're going to be at the Pro Day Field on Friday. We'll see what happens. I have Mock 4.0 coming out Tuesday. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my calls with my friends in the NFL. But if I were picking for the Giants, I would take Shedeur Sanders at 3.
I'll certainly have my eyes out for how many members of the Giants organization is at the Colorado Pro Day. And I'll just say this. Take a quarterback at number 3 overall. Shedeur Sanders is 16th on my big board. So if we were going just by the big board, this would not be the pick. That being said, it would be 2 separate years in which you have a top 6 pick, and you don't take a quarterback in back-to-back years. I understand that these guys don't have the same level of grade as the 3 quarterbacks that came in last year and went 1, 2, 3, Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, and Drake May. But you got to give yourself a chance. We have seen time and again in the NFL teams that overthink it at the quarterback spots and either bypass a guy who ends up becoming a really good player or taking a guy who's can't miss and not finding a way to actually make that player a high-level quarterback starter. If the Giants have any conviction at all on Shedeur Sanders, they have to take him at number 3, and they have to give themselves a chance, Dan, in the NFC East with Jayden Daniels and Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott to eventually get back into the mix.
Shedeur's been the toughest evaluation that I've had at that position, quarterback, since I started in TV. I don't know where you and Mel stand on it, and here's the why. Number 1, is Dion going to let him to go to a place like New York? I don't know. And then when you watch Shedeur's tape, it feels like half of his throws are at or behind the line of scrimmage. And that's part of the offense necessity.
Is he calling that or not?
And then a quarter of the plays, he's got no shot because the offensive line protection is absolutely horrific. So you really, I walk away going, I get to evaluate a quarter of his pass attempts. And there's a lot that you like. You sit there and go, the timing, the placement, the rhythm, the maneuvering of the pocket. But then I sit there and go, well, there's times when he only looks at Travis Hunter. Probably justifiably so. There's times when I can sit here and watch him take the snap and go, I'm not looking at anything. I'm just trying to get away in the pocket and kind of predetermining that. Probably justifiably so. It's like you really only get a quarter of his snaps that you sit there and go, what are you exactly when it comes to high-end talent, bottom starting, kind of where you're going to be as a player. And I think it's really difficult to get a full evaluation because comparison to like a Cam Ward, or they got so much snaps of ball that you can pay attention to.
And what I love that you said is fascinating because of all of those things. And that's just the evaluation of Shedeur Sanders. I think on the other side of this, as you look at it for the New York Giants, their ownership, John Mara said earlier in the offseason, is we need to find our quarterback of the future. We've talked about Joe Shane and Brian Dable having to produce this year, which you go out and you get a Jameis Winston, you get a Russell Wilson. But on the other side of that, you need that quarterback for the future. So I look at this also with what's the input from ownership to say, hey, Shedeur Sanders, we're going to be at his pro day. We're going to have him on a private visit. If we like what we see, hey, there might be a stud out there in a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, depending upon how it goes. But if we have a chance to have a quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years, whether that is a Kirk Cousins comp or an Andy Dalton comp, which I've heard, you have somebody
I
that
think in
solidifies
round
a
one or
position.
round two, they've got to take a quarterback.
Have to.
You know, because the worst case scenario for the Giants is either Jameis or Russell plays this year and they play good.
Yeah.
Because
Then
it
what?
gets
Then
them
what
to
do
like
you
the
do?
16th pick in
And
the
they're
draft.
older,
And
right.
tell you what, this schedule is daunting. It is incredibly daunting for this Giants team. The division itself is always going to make it a little bit daunting. Just go check their schedule if you haven't seen it already. Hard to find a lot of wins, which is why I think the opportunity to take a quarterback is something you have to seriously consider.
Also give Shedeur time to sit, get accustomed to everything. I think that's super valuable as well. Again, we are celebrating World Autism Awareness Day today with Madden Orlovsky's superpower in here, all of his amazing drawings. You will see these throughout the show. I've got some people tweeting me saying that this should be the artwork for the show all the time. So, Madden, I don't know if you'd let us do that, but
Mads, could we use your drawings all the time?
Of course I do. I love drawing.
I love it.
Got to get an agent first.
The guy can throw it all over the yard, cut down on the sacks, cut down on the fumbles. Incarnate Word, Washington State, and then Miami put it all together this year. Had an outstanding season. Like I say, all the different arm angles, 17 rushing touchdowns as well over the last 3 years. That's why Cam Ward, the wow factor, he has it. Who's a traditional drop back pocket passer? That would be Shedeur Sanders, a guy I love at the quarterback spot. You can win from the pocket. You can be old school. They're not dinosaurs, guys. Shedeur Sanders, his accuracy, his toughness, everything about him I love. And I think his arm's going to get stronger. It's been proven. Once you're in the NFL, your arm does get stronger. All those attributes is exactly what you need to be a surgeon in that pocket and win from the pocket. Like I say, old school, traditional way. Shedeur Sanders, to me, may end up being a tremendous value pick. Who knows where he'll land, but he may present great value when he comes off the board.
Those words specifically chosen in honor of the New York Giants. So look, I think if Cam Ward doesn't go one, it'll be one of the great surprises that we've seen in recent memory. Shedeur Sanders, the possibilities seem pretty much endless. Where does he come off on your board?
Look, I think the Giants will pass on him. I think he does become someone who then becomes a guy who's in play once you start talking about the 6-7 range. When you're talking about the Raiders, you're talking about the Jets.